What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tactical Fellowship. The purpose of today's video is to show you why this gun doesn't run like a deer. I'm going to show you today how to bring it from this to this. Because there's two upgrades every Stoeger shooter should do right now. In addition, if you've got a super heavy Stoeger tricked out like mine, at the conclusion of this video, you will understand what the gun needs to run when it's all zombied out. Before we get to that though, how about you go ahead and stick your thumb up YouTube's anti-gun loving hole by liking and subscribing. Go ahead and check out my web store, and why not you find me on Twitter X. So what brought you to this video to begin with? Well, it's going to be a handful of things, and it probably sounds something like this. You're getting FTEs. You're getting FTLs. Yep. Your semi is acting like a single shot pump. You have no idea what ammo is going to work, so you don't know what to buy, let alone buying it in bulk. And or your gun was working till you started putting stuff on it, and now it's no longer working. That, dear friend, is what brought you to this video, so let's get to it. The first part you're going to need is this reduced rate recoil spring for light loads from MOA Precision. It's about 20 bucks, and it offers you about 25% less resistance than the stock recoil spring. This is super important because it's going to open wide the type of ammo that will cycle in the gun. For instance, day one of filming, my friend Chris brought out his brand new Stoeger, never shot it, brand new. He put whatever shells he had on it, he could not get it to cycle for anything. It didn't even cycle once until I gave him my Federal heavy field load. That finally cycled his gun. And my gun here that you can see, it's fully loaded up. Extra ounces everywhere. Some say actually that it only takes about 1 pound of extra weight in order to throw off an inertia-driven recoil system. My gun also is only able to cycle with the heavy field load at 3 1/4 dram powder charge. And that number you can find written on the box. It's not on every box, but I find it very helpful that it is written on Federals. But watch what happens when the reduced rate recoil spring has been introduced to the gun. Oh, here we go. That sucks. There it is. All right, these are even lighter. As you saw, these should not work at all, and they won't. Yep, that was great. Now, you're still seeing FTEs and FTLs, and we're going to address that in the next step. But what I want you to focus on is that the gun is cycling even with low power loads. That's why this spring is going to be your first upgrade. In addition to the reduced rate recoil spring for light loads, be sure to oil the magazine tube on your Stoeger. I had accidentally let this spot go bone dry, and it was not doing me any favors. I feel like you should be able to do that with your bolt. Like, what is this? As you can see, I have the really cool Briley forend here, and it makes it super easy to drop some oil in there. But if you're running the stock foregrip, this might be an out of sight, out of mind part, so just make sure that that gets oil on it. To Taco Bet, your gun is going to run after this video. All right, so even with the first fix, your gun is still running like poo. So here is your home run. Get yourself ASAP the Benelli extractor and extractor spring, part numbers right here on the screen. Notice how the Benelli extractor has more bite in the extractor. And notice also how the Benelli extractor spring is a little bit longer, a little bit more coil, a little bit more power. Quick note though on the installation. Here you're looking at the bolt's been removed from the gun, and in order to replace the extractor, this pin here needs to get pushed. And a tip you should know, it shouldn't take more than a light tap to send this thing through. So if you're using more than a light tap, odds are that your punch has fallen down into that recess, and you're just banging away at nothing, and you're gonna bend your pin punch like I did to mine. Learn from my error. All right, so the parts are all in, everything's oiled up. Let's see how this gun performs. Benelli extractor, they are falling further away from the gun than the standard OEM extractor. As you saw, massive improvement. Previous to these upgrades, I could hardly get 10 shells through the gun without it jamming, clogging, doing whatever it was doing, FTE, FTL. And in this here second session, I was able to blaze through string after string with zero issues. Now let's pick it up a notch. I want to show you some tasty data collection for those of you that are rocking a zombied out super heavy Stoeger like mine. Here's what you need to know in order to hope to achieve solid functioning with a really heavy gun. With light shells, no. 1300 FPS mediums. There you have it. That's where you might need to be. So you don't win on all fronts here with that. You can't cycle low power. You can't even really cycle half power. You really do need more of a full power load to cycle an inertia-driven Stoeger once you got +8 magazine tube and all the shells in it. That side saddle, that's extra weight. You've got the RMR and the mount on there, that's extra weight. You've got the QD sling attachment point. You've got the sling itself on the gun. You've got the quad rail. All that adds extra weight. All that's dragging down and making your inertia-driven system less efficient. That's why you need a greater powered shell. I found the Federal Heavy Field 3 1/4 dram shell to be a good fit for me. Well, that's all I got. I hope you found that beneficial. Your Stoeger can and will work well. Don't give up on the gun just yet. As always, guys, ride fast, shoot straight, get off the couch and into some tactical fellowship, and we'll see you next time. Before you leave and get those Benelli parts, how would you head to this guy's little merch store? T-shirts, coffee mug, just the basics, just what you need.